welcome to the bonus room. I'm Lewis.
And I'm Holly.
And today the subject is I would like to talk about societies and great societies because I feel like we're living in a very interesting time, and I wanted to get these thoughts down because I want our generations, our family and our great-grandchildren, our grandchildren to be able to see this and refer back to this, because these are definitely going to go down as some very interesting times in history. And our society is so great that it seems like it's going to great in size, that it seems like it's just going to collapse under its own pressure. And right now, for example, the financial system worldwide has over $1 quadrillion in derivatives, which is just paper. And in my mind, it's paper that's meant for the sole purpose of, a large bank or a large brokerage house to be able to sell just so they can collect money, just so they can pay themselves huge bonuses. And at some point, it's got to stop. And, there's a reason that we group together as a society, and those reasons started out being we needed protection. We needed to group together and protect ourselves from other groups that meant to harm us, meant to take our food, our land, and God knows what else. But at some point, you're sitting there and you're a part of a society, a part of a community, and if I were a farmer and I were on my piece of land and I had a family and I provided for myself, didn't harm anyone, at some point, to simplify it, you've got this Wall Street banker that comes up and says, hey, I want to sell a derivative on the amount of milk that your cow is going to produce. And the farmer's like, well, why? That's my cow, it's my milk, it's how I feed my family. And the Wall Street banker says, well, that's how I need to make a living. Well, that doesn't produce anything.
You're not contributing.
Yeah, you're not contributing anything to society. So there you go. You've got contributing to a society. Well, we've gotten to a point where there's an awful lot of people I'll just stick with the United States. There's an awful lot of people in the United States that make a living and make a huge living and don't contribute anything. Just think about it. I mean, there are so many industries, and I'm hesitating because I don't want to call out any industries, but if you put your thinking cap on and you think about it, there are so many industries built on the work of very few people that capitalize on even artistic creation. You've got people buying and selling and doing this and wheeling and dealing, and there's really no contribution to society worthwhile. So, go ahead.
I was just say with I'll call them out. Sports teams are pretty ambiguous. There's a lot of people that have no effect on the outcome of the game of any sports franchise, but there's a lot of people that benefit financially.
Think of the sports bars. I mean, people go and sit.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that time that you and I and our daughter went to a sports bar. It was a new one that we hadn't tried, and we're sitting there and we're trying to have a dinner and conversation as a family. And yeah, it's nice to have a football game or a baseball game in the background, and people are screaming at the top of their lungs, like at the TV, when their team does something good. And it's like, wow, we've kind of gone over a cliff, and I don't think people are aware of it. And I'm talking to my children, my grandchildren, and anybody who'll listen, but get a grip. I think that we are meant as human beings to be strong individuals, and you never see the Clint Eastwood movies anymore where it's a rugged individual that's taken on a group that's trying to round people up and murder them. The Vigilante. maybe we need more vigilantes. I don't know.
Well, I don't think we need more vigilantes.
And I agree with that. I didn't
Yeah.
mean to interrupt, but as I thought about it, the context of today, we've got a lot of people that are out there doing some crazy stuff that I definitely don't agree with.
Well, because our societies have gotten so big, we've lost the ability for the social taboos to step in and control the members of that society. You go into basic third world cultures and you will basic, just a handful of people trying to survive together. And just even boiling it down to the incest taboo. You know, it boils down to, if it's a parent and a child, it causes a bad relationship with the rest of the family. Therefore, you don't do it. And if you do it, you've got the rest of the family and the community to answer to. There's no accountability because our society is so large. There's no one to hold them accountable. And yeah, we've got police, we've got federal government, we've got state government, but that's not the answer. It's governing oneself. It's the ability to govern oneself.
Yeah, and you're talking about government, and you know, we go back to the Constitution, which I believe we've tossed aside, and it's no longer. It's just a nice little framed piece of paper in Washington. But you know, the founding fathers had the forethought to put all the power in the states' rights. You know, states have their own rights to do, and the federal government, you know, has overridden that with, you know, interstate commerce. Well, anything that affects interstate commerce, we can. So that's just like carte blanche for them. And here and now today, the federal government has gotten so big, and the fact the federal government has gotten so big is because there's a lot of people that they service that have become too needy, in my estimate, and they're
rely
not.
on them.
Yeah, they rely on them. They don't rely on themselves. And it goes back to conversations that you and I have had, and what we try to instill into our daughter is, you know, value yourself. You know, you have value. Don't let anything that anybody says in your mind detract value from who you feel like you are and who you want to be. And I really feel like the federal government, by creating all these programs, and these people become so needy, you know, that it just, they give away their value. These people are giving away their, and that's it's frustrating for me. I see it all the time in the business world. I see people that go into a company as an employee and don't think of it as, okay, how can I make this company better? They think in terms of, what can I get from this company? And that's kind of it's a mentality. And you know, I've said it before, you know, if JFK came back today, I think he would be embarrassed how the citizens of the United States expect to be given so much. And you know, I just go back to his saying, you know, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And those are powerful words, and I think people in later generations who align themselves with JFK have bastardized those words and bastardized his legacy, I think.
Right.
I'll say it out loud.
And all of the programs that many of the programs that have been put in place have been put in place to keep those that need in that place and not provide for them.
Right.
Instead of providing the opportunity to come out of that place of relying on government programs and government assistance, they keep them there. They place them there, they keep them there, which keeps the rest of the machine operating happily because they are still getting the money because these people are placed here. The rest of the machine keeps functioning well because if they no longer need the assistance, then they're going to rise against that machine. I
Yeah, right.
sci-fi.
Rage Against the Machine.
Rage Against the
Yeah.
Machine.
There you have it.
And then the machine breaks down, and those that are making all the money off the people that would, I am positive that I can speak for most people that are in need, is they would rather not need. They'd rather provide for themselves. I'm sure of that.
All right. I'm going to have to stop you this time. It's usually
Sorry.
you stopping me, but join us next time in the bonus room, and
Keep talking.